Hollywood announces some more white replacement films. The first one being a single white female reboot, which will not include a white female. It'll star instead Gina Ortega and Taylor Russell. And Taylor Russell will join yet another white replacement movie. This one being the Thomas Crown Affair, which will star herself and Michael B. Jordan. Now, if you remember, single white female originally starred Bridget Fonda and I forget the other uh, white chick's name, but it starred those two. And Michael B. Jordan, Thomas Crown Affair, that starred, well, I'm familiar with the one that starred Pierce Bronson and the chick that played Mel Gibson's wife in Lethal Weapon 2 or 3. And then there's the original with Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway. Well, again, both of these movies will have race swaps, and Taylor Russell is in both of them. Now, Taylor Russell is another one of these token Negroes that they've been uplifting. I think the only project I've heard her be a part of was that um, Cannibal movie that came out a couple of years ago. But again, here you have it. As much as people will label it a theory or call people racist or sellouts for calling it out, I mean, it's pretty damn clear what they're doing. And as we see, they're not just doing it through entertainment, they're doing it through real life with the immigration policies for open borders, pushing the theory of melting pot and diversity is our strength, and seemingly doing a good job at accomplishing their goal, which is to get white people, in a lot of ways, to help genocide themselves. You know, with the white guilt and the self hate, particularly from woke white libtards, and even the white conservatards who, sure, they'll call it out and be critical of anti white propaganda, but they don't ever do anything about it tangibly. And as I stated before, the main way to make your voice heard is to permanently boycott the primary industry, outside of the government that's pushing this agenda. Outside of the government and academia, easily the entertainment industry has successfully pushed not just white guilt and anti-white hate, but also anti-heterosexual men, anti-nuclear family, anti-Christianity. But then the main thing is the anti-white propaganda, and that's what these two movies are. That's been announced. You know, the single white female is supposed to be under Sony Pictures, and I believe Amazon will be responsible for the Thomas Crown Affair race swap. So, anybody thinking that something is going to happen differently simply because Trump is in office for a second time? Yeah, if anything, they're going to turn these kinds of projects up even more so. That's why I say it's imperative to vote with your wallet. Because at the end of the day, voting with your wallet lasts far longer than any president reign. Because that's a lifetime of tangible benefits that would play in your favor if, tens of millions of people were interested enough in uh, protecting themselves and defending themselves. Because, again, people know the term USA aid because of Doge, but the fact of the matter is the biggest, negative propagandists pushing negative narratives and employing evil people, platforming evil people, has been Hollywood. Hollywood has been its own U.S. aid, but even worse because everybody knows Hollywood's name, and unfortunately, most people idol worship Hollywood. Whereas, USA, unless you were really into government government news, it's relatively quiet, a silent propagandist. I mean, still an insidious one nonetheless, but still silent. Whereas Hollywood is out in the open, and as we've seen, people will knowingly support pedos and pedo advocates just as long as they are under the umbrella of Hollywood, providing them with entertainment that they enjoy. We saw that most notably, or we see that most notably with the continued support for James Gunn. But anyway, there you have it. Single white female. That's really going to be funny because they're going to have the audacity to still call this single white female, even though a white female isn't involved. Now you can imagine maybe they'll just change the title and call it single female and take the white out. But as we've seen with the Rachel Zegler movie, she's clearly not white, but they're still calling it Snow White. So I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to call single white female single white female with two non-white females in the movie. And as far as the Thomas Crown affair, again, more garbage coming out of Amazon under Jeff Bezos, by the way, who again people got their pom poms out because he was seen smiling with Trump, but he still is in this industry. He's still a libtard, and he's still going to be a part of the beast pushing this insidious propaganda, which again is ultimately about continuing to advertise white replacement. Because again, they're looking decades ahead when none of us are alive, and when people go to reference things, everything that they reference will be the race swap version of the original. And by that time, I wouldn't be surprised if they if they don't. I wouldn't be surprised if they've permanently deleted any semblance of these older films that we now know of. We know these things are, race swapped reboots, remakes, but we're already seeing them now rewriting things. So you can only imagine how much is going to be rewritten and changed. I mean, the only way that can be prevented is if people actually start going against it. But again, even with some temporary reign of power in the favor of the right side of the culture war, you still have things ultimately not change because the general public doesn't assert themselves the way that they should. And again, this is a simple means of asserting yourself. Weaponize your wallet. But anyway, look forward to these projects, I guess.